Hey bike people, so today I was going to do a review on the Stromer ST3 after about 2,400 miles, but then I took a look at my bike and I realized that it was so incredibly dirty that I really couldn't in good conscience do a review right now before cleaning it. And looking up some different videos about cleaning Stromers, there's not really any great ones out there, so I thought I'd give you kind of an overview of how I clean my Stromer, and I'd love your comments in the comment section if you got any other good ideas. Thanks. Okay, first step, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the equipment that I use here. Nothing really spectacular, but I've got a good brush here. It's a soft brush, bristled brush. It's actually a boar's head brush, wheel brush for a car, kind of a high-end one. I've got this drivetrain cleaner. My drivetrain is not horribly dirty right now, but it's always a good idea to clean the drivetrain if you're going to go ahead and clean the rest of the bike. I do have some simple green here as well, which I'm running quite low. I'm going to use that on the drivetrain only, and I'm going to use car wash on the rest of the bike. Got a good bucket here. It's actually a Griot's Garage bucket. The only reason why that's significant is because it has this shield on the bottom that traps all the dirt in the bottom, which is great. And just an old wash mitt that I have for a car because it's going to get kind of trashed. First, I'm going to give you a closer view here of the bike. As you can see, it is pretty dirty. I actually haven't been riding it off-road. Little dirt paths here and there, but a lot of mud all over the bike, and I've been commuting on it every day. And while I think it kind of looks cool and it's sort of a badge of honor, it's pretty terrible for the bike overall, so I got to clean it up. Okay, so the first step is I'm going to take all the stuff off the bike, all the accessories that I don't want to be drowning in car wash. I'm going to do that real quick. And next, very important, is to remove the battery. So I've got to take the battery out because that shouldn't get wet. I have to turn the bike on in order to do that. Okay, I want to show you real quickly how you eject the battery here. It's pretty simple. You actually, when the bike is on, you can go to the menu here, press eject, and at this point, you're able to press this button on the side here. As I said, you can push this button on the side here, and the battery should come out. Ta-da! There we go. Giving the bike a quick rinse, and then I'm going to hit it with the simple green on the drivetrain, and go back and clean the drivetrain first, and then I'll leave the simple green on the drivetrain for a while I clean the rest of the bike, and then rinse the whole bike. You can already see a big difference in the color of the drivetrain. It's already turning silver, which is the natural color of the chain, despite the look of it right now. I'm also going to get a brush in here and clean some of these cogs, and clean the pulleys on the derailleur as well. Okay, so the drivetrain is pretty clean right now. I'm going to rinse that off, and it's going to look really much better once the degreaser soaks in here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a wash mitt, though. I'm going to wash from the top of the bike down to the bottom of the bike, and the reason for that is obviously that the top of the bike is probably cleanest, bottom of the bike is dirtiest. You do that with a car as well, just so that you minimize rubbing all the majority of the dirt all over the cleaner parts. So once again, I'll fast forward this so that I don't bore the crap out of you. Okay, so now that I got it all sudsed up, I'm going to give it a good rinse. I'm going to give the drivetrain one more turn with the drivetrain cleaner on there, and rinse the whole thing off and see how it looks. Ugh. Okay, so the bike's looking a lot better now. Got it all cleaned down. It's all wet, of course, so I'm going to just go ahead and give it a quick dry with just normal bath towel, cotton bath towel. The important thing is that it's not a synthetic towel. It's not going to scratch the paint. This matte paint is actually pretty sensitive to scratching, so just give it a once over. First, starting with the electronics area. Again, try not to soak that area too much. A couple of quick tips just when you're washing this bike. is, yeah, one, just don't spray the electronics area more than you have to, and also make sure you get underneath the fenders really well too. So fenders stay pretty dirty in these things, and you got to really like shoot the hose underneath the fender itself just to get all the crap out of there so that it doesn't build up over time. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is just dry off the drivetrain so that I can, first thing I'm going to do is hit it with WD-40 afterwards, and that displaces all the remaining moisture on the chain and the drivetrain, and then I'm going to re-lube it. So first I'm just going to give it a quick wipe down with a towel I don't care about, run the chain through my hand, clean the pulleys a little. Now, something you should know is I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to this bike. I am when it comes to certain things, my motorcycle, some of my cars, but with this really is a more utilitarian bike. I don't want it to get ruined by the dirt, but at the same time, I'm not out polishing it either. This is kind of sloppy though. I'm gonna get rid of this. My chain guard here, my homemade chain guard made out of bar end tape is fraying. I'm just gonna put some more cloth tape on there once the bike dries out. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm going to put some WD-40 on the chain. Again, that's just to displace the water. WD-40 is not a very good lubricant, so, and it's even not meant to be a lubricant. It can loosen a lock or something like that, but don't use it on your chain as your lubricant. But it does displace water nicely. Get rid of the remaining water. I usually let the bike sit for an hour or so after I do this before I go back and relube the chain. The super important thing to remember when you're putting any lube on a bike ever, WD-40 or anything else, is to keep it away from your discs and to keep it away from the mechanicals of the bike. But really your discs are going to get completely ruined if you end up getting grease on them. So make sure when you're lubing a chain, you do it in the bottom part of the chain down here, and on the opposite side, if you can, depending on the bike, the opposite side. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a while. If you wanna get a little bit more picky, you can clean the wheels a little bit better. Sometimes the rear wheel especially gets some of the lube from the chain kind of spattered on it. It also tends to kind of collect most of the road dirt and the grease. So what I tend to do is use something like Speed Shine here, just a liquid detailer for cars, spray it on microfiber cloth. And again, this is somewhat tedious and I don't usually do this, but for the sake of the video, I will. Just go from section to section, and it takes off that layer of grease, makes the back wheel look as nice as the front. Okay, so bike is clean. The only remaining step is to put the battery back in, put the accessories back on. Snaps right back in. Okay, so much better. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not gonna be perfect so long as I ride it. You know, for 2,200 miles or something like that, it's looking pretty good. I'm sure I could make the paint look better if I waxed it, but that's not gonna happen. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something about washing the bike. If you got any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. But I'm stoked to have a clean bike, and that means that I can do a 2,500 mile review here pretty soon because I'm not gonna be embarrassed by the way my bike looks. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.